The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneurs Unleashed. The podcast where purpose and passion become revenue streams. Be real. Take a stand. Change lives. Here's your host, Patti Keating.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed show. I'm your host, Patti Keating. Entrepreneurs everywhere are creating a new breed of business success. They're making their own rules, taking a stand for their purpose, leading through integrity, and making money by changing lives. Join me each week for compelling messages that will inspire and empower you to unleash your true purpose. Would you like to turn your message into a signature system and monetize it with a program or product online? Join me for the Online Biz webinar, where we'll take you through the steps required to monetize your message. Head on over to the onlinebizwebinar.com and reserve your spot today.
I want to welcome everyone to today's course titled Meet Your Future Self. You know, you can either live your life by design or by default, and we're going to talk about that today. Designing a relationship with your future will give yourself a solid target for you to move towards. And what we're going to do is take you through the process today of really looking at what that target is, of getting in relationship with that future that you most want, so that then you can come back to today and focus on those goals that are the very most important things for you, and design your priorities and your decisions around the destination that you have chosen for yourself. So we are going to be very busy. We're going to go through a couple of exercises today. So I want you to be sure, if you haven't downloaded the workbook that you received this morning in the email, be sure you do that and print it out real quickly. Or you can just get some paper if you haven't done it and you want to just sit back and really engage and not worry about printing right now. Just make sure you have a pad of paper and a pen, and everything that I'm talking about you'll be able to write down on paper, and then you can transfer it over to your workbook at a later time. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to take you through two separate exercises, because what we want to do is we really want to make some decisions about where you're headed with your life and your business. And so many times we get caught on a hamster wheel of just doing whatever's in front of us. Many times we have too much clutter, too much chaos, over commitments on our schedule, financial commitments, and we get into the hamster wheel of just racing through the day, wanting to get as much done as possible so that we can put some marks next to the to-do list and really feel like we've gotten something accomplished. And as much as we want to do that, we need to really stop and understand that the way to create new results is to slow down, to make decisions, to make commitments, to get your plan in order, to design that future. You know, when someone builds a new home, they don't go down to the Home Depot and order the wood and the concrete for the foundation and the rebar and the nails and bring it all over to the plot and dump it out and then go, okay, hurry up, we got to get started, we got to get this house up. They hire an architect, or they find a plan, or they look through books, they make decisions right down to the details. If you've ever built a house, you know how much time is required choosing every imaginable piece of that house, from the cabinet handles, the hinges, the colors. Everything is designed up front, and a detailed plan is created so that that vision can become real. But how many times do we do that in life? That is why we find ourselves overwhelmed and behind schedule and confused and frustrated, because we don't have that specific focus and that plan that we need. So what we're going to do today is talk about your future and what it is that you want to create. I want to start off by introducing to you a top 10 list, and this list is in your workbook. You can also jot it down. And this comes from one of my favorite mentors. He is the man who is responsible for me becoming a coach. He has taught me so many things in my life and in my practice, and his name is Leonard. Thomas is the founder of the coaching industry. He is called the father of coaching. He started the International Coaching Federation, which is the governing body. He started 2 schools, Coach U and Coachville. And he was an absolute brilliant man. He's no longer with us, but I have so much of his work, and I so appreciate everything I learned from him. And I'm sharing with you one of his top 10 lists. He was famous for creating top 10 lists. From a book titled The 28 Principles of Attraction. Thomas was studying attraction way before it was popular. And the top 10 list is about creating your vision. He calls it developing a compelling vision that inspires you. And we're going to start with this top 10 list. Number 1, he says to be clued into the trends that are affecting society and business and you. Now, why is that important? Well, we can have a vision for ourselves, some ideas about what we want in the future with our business, for our lives. But actually, we have to make sure that that vision is in alignment with what's happening today. It has to be now-based, meaning that you can identify what's happening, a trend or something that's going on in the market, and notice the progress that we are or are not making towards that. And then you can think about what it is you want in your business and life and make sure that there's actually a realistic road to get you there. So whatever that vision is for yourself, how is that showing up today? What trends are happening in the market? What's affecting us as a society, as a world? What's happening for you right now, today, that ties into your long-term vision? So for me, I'll give you an example to bring this down to a practical perspective. For me, I am very much about innovation, new ways of teaching. I'm about new ways of learning. I'm passionate about inspiring people to take action and create exactly what they want. So the trends that I keep an eye on are technology, innovation, the latest products. I'm a big Apple fan because of their innovation. I keep an eye on personal development, and I keep an eye on business development and business trends. I have Google alerts set up for business breaking news and what's the latest things that are happening in marketing, in the online world, and in innovation. So I can tie those trends into my vision for my own business. So what is that for you? And that comes from some of my core strengths and my core values and the things that I most want to see happening in the world, my big picture vision for the world. So what is that for you? What are the trends? Write those down. Make this time we have on this training call today productive and useful for you. So write it down. Even if you don't know, take a stab at it. At least you're getting something down. The second item on the list is to know several visionary types personally. So whatever your vision is, who has a similar vision? Who's up to similar work? Where do they hang out, and how can you meet them? Otherwise, you feel like you're sort of alone in the wind, and it feels like more of a want and a desire than actually something that's happening. And the more time you spend with people who have developed skills and have developed visioning and creating things in their own life, the more you'll be able to do it. So it's much easier for you to surround yourself with people who are actually doing the things that you want to do so that you can shortcut your learning curve. So for me, it's good to know them personally. Not always are you able to. So for me, one of the people I love to keep an eye on, I think he's absolutely brilliant, I'm a huge fan, is Richard Branson. 300 plus companies? Seriously? What is going on with that man that he can create 300 companies? I'm fascinated. So I read his autobiography. I follow him on Twitter. I'm tuned in and I'm listening and I'm learning so much from him. Who is that for you? Who is that for you? Personally, if you can meet people, I live in Portland, and there's a marketing firm, Wyden Kennedy. So I go to their events so I can be around them, get to know them, bring them into my life because they're innovative, they're creative, they're on the cutting edge, they're able to make sales, all those things that I stand for. Who is it for you, locally or globally, that you can get into relationship with? And again, the relationship can be virtual. Don't let that stop you. People will say, well, Patti, how are you going to meet Richard Branson? Well, there's a lot of ways to get to know a lot about him without having to physically meet him. Number 3, identify a current trend and bring it into a vision. So what is a current trend that you can see right now happening in your line of work, your industry, or even life? You know, computers are a trend. The internet's a trend. Retailing's a trend. What is it that's happening underneath there in your industry? Is it education? Is it self-improvement? Is it health? And then take that vision, that trend, and take it way out into the future. So if this trend were to continue for the next 50 years, what would be happening for my market? If the computer industry continues to grow for 50 years, look at the speed of change we're seeing now. What will be happening? Let your mind get really creative with this. It's really fun. And when you go out there into the future, you can bring ideas back into the now that can be extremely valuable for you. Number 4, give up chasing a vision. Having a vision is important. It's really important. But it usually works best when it's something that you really are engaged with right now. Instead of something you're really straining your eyes to see, right? Oh gosh, I can kind of see it if I really focus. Again, it needs to be connected with now. So don't chase your vision, rather see it clearly in the present and create it bigger in the future. Number 5, drop the notion of life purpose, primary meaning, commitment, and mission. You know, you can have a real clear idea of your purpose, your meaning, your mission, all of those things. And this is Thomas's number 5. Many of you know I teach mission statements. His point is that sometimes they'll get in the way because they're future-based and they are manufactured, in his words, realities. They're interpretations, or they're created from some sort of need or insecurity, and they can become a trap. His perspective on this is to just be you, know who you are. Don't let these things that are guiding you be external. Don't let someone else feed them to you. Understand who you are and what you're about and what you want to create. And let it be in you and expressed today. Not next year, not in 3 years, not in 5 years, not when you get 2 more clients or the kids are out of the house or, that boyfriend stops bothering you that you can't figure out how to get rid of. None of that matters. Bring it into form today. Number 6, use goals as a way of keeping your vision clear and available. So once you've got your vision, you want to chunk it down so that you have tangible goals that you can see, that you can feel yourself stepping right through. And they can be tiny steps at first. If you're feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, clean your office, right? That can be a clearing space for the canvas for you to get busy moving forward towards your vision. But chunk it down, have that vision, and then know that the progress, the actions you're taking today are giving you progress towards the bigger vision. Even if it's cleaning one shelf in your office, it needs to be tied together. You need to have goals so that you really feel like you're on a path towards reaching your vision. Number 7, I love this one. Adjust your life so that you're inspired by your vision instead of empowered by it. Now, what does that mean? Well, Thomas describes how empowerment, it is a good thing, but it's not a good thing in this area if it means that you are being empowered by your vision's development. So you're dependent on it developing. Rather, he says, be empowered from people, not projects. Be inspired to do your project, to reach your goal. Be inspired. That comes from you. Being in alignment with what it is you want to do. And then the people who rally around you to help you, those are the people who are empowering you. So ask yourself, is this vision really something that I'm inspired to create? Or is it something that I'm feeling like, if I don't create this, I don't have any meaning. I don't know who I am. It's a thin line, but it's an important one. Number 8, let your vision evolve by your own development and your awareness. So start with your vision. And, sometimes when we first start doing this work, the vision can seem really big and yet also kind of vague, undefined. That's okay, because it will develop over time. As you become more aware of who you are and the work you're doing and the path you're taking, your vision is going to become clearer. Until you start walking towards it, you won't know more about it. So don't feel like you have to have it all down. Like in my, earlier when I was talking about building a house, you don't have to have the doorknobs picked out. You need the frame. You need the layout of the room. And then as you start to put it together, you'll get more of the details. They will unfold for you. Number 9, I hope you guys are taking notes about each of these areas. Even if it's just a sentence or two, go back and review them and put the notes that you have written into action right away. Number 9, don't confuse your self-identity with your vision. So there's you, and then there's your vision. Just don't let yourself be confused by changing visions. Again, this ties into who am I in the world, and I'm fine being exactly who I am. And as this person, I am going to create this vision in the world. And number 10, let your vision evolve naturally. Don't get fixated on a single vision. Let it evolve and grow. It needs to. It's like a child. You have to be willing to change with it. Just like any of you who are parents know how much you changed in order to parent the child. So that's Thomas Leonard's top 10 list. I want to give that with you to really kind of get you thinking about where am I headed, what is my vision, and, you know, what part of the vision is something tangible that I'm creating, and what part of the vision is me. What part of, you know, and separating those two. Who am I? What do I stand for? And then what is my vision? Okay, now do a really fun exercise. And what I want you to do is just kind of kick back, take a deep breath. Everybody, a deep breath. Let go of everything that's going on. We're going to do a little visualization. And again, there's going to be, there's room in your workbook for you to write about this, but I don't want you to do any writing until after we're finished. So if you have something to drink, take a quick sip of water, take a deep breath, kick back, and we're going to together go through this visualization to help you understand the future that you most want for yourself. Okay. Everybody close your eyes, relax. I want to take you to a time 10 years from today. It's 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. You're really happy and you're very excited because an award celebration is going to be held tonight in your honor. Honoring your achievements as an entrepreneur. As you prepare for this day, notice what your thoughts are. What are you doing? Who are you seeing? Where are you? Notice the place you're in. What does it look like? What are the colors around you? Now, as you move through the day, it's 12 o'clock. This is the day of your big celebration, a celebration in your honor. What are you doing? It's lunchtime. Where are you going for lunch? Who are you with? What are the conversations you're having about tonight's big celebration? It's now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You are getting ready for your big evening. You're very particular about the clothes that you're wearing for this event. Notice what you're wearing. What are your thoughts as you are getting ready for your big event? Now it's 7 o'clock in the evening. You're walking into the place where the award celebration will be held. Who are you walking into the event with? As you walk into the event, You enter a lobby area and you begin to notice familiar faces. Faces of friends, family, and close colleagues who have come to celebrate this evening with you. Who do you notice? As you walk further into this place, you notice large pictures of you from the last 10 years of your life. Pictures that are 5 feet wide by 3 feet high of you doing the work that you most love. Pictures of your business, pictures of your travels, pictures of you with your family and your friends. Take a close look at these pictures. What are you doing? Who are you with? Where have you traveled? It's now 7:30 in the evening. A wonderful meal has been served, and it's time for you to be honored. You're sitting at a round table with 7 of your closest family and friends. Notice who's sitting with you and the looks on their faces. Who is sitting with you? What do the expressions on their faces tell you about your accomplishments? It's now 8 o'clock in the evening. It's time for you to be honored. A very special person stands up to introduce you to the audience. Who is this person? Listen closely to what this person has to say about you. What is the award you're receiving? Listen closely to the answer. This special person finished introducing you, and you hear rounds of applause. This is your cue to walk up to the podium. As you walk to the podium, what are your thoughts? What do you notice? You now begin to speak. This is your acceptance speech for this high honor. What are you saying to the audience about your last 10 years? What have you accomplished? What did it take for you to get where you are today? Who are you thanking that helped you get here? What are the changes that you have made in your local community? What changes have you made in the world? What have you learned? What are you most proud of? Take time to listen closely to your words. You've finished your speech, and 3 of your closest family and friends walk up to the podium, each one carrying a gift. Who are the 3 people carrying the gifts? Each person now hands you a gift. Inside each box is something beautiful that represents the work that you have done during the last 10 years. Slowly open the first gift. What do you see? Now, open the second gift. What do you see? Now open the third gift. What do you see? Take a moment to take in the gifts in these boxes. Now it's time for your acceptance speech to come to an end. You thank your 3 close family, friends, and colleagues. And you have something very special to say to the audience. Listen closely to what you have to say. The award ceremony is now ending. You say goodbye to the guests and you head home. It's 11 p.m. in the evening. What are your thoughts as you end this day? As you drift off to sleep, what is the feeling you have about all that you have achieved? Take a moment to notice this feeling. Now it's time to return to this room here today. As I count to 3, you'll open your eyes and remember as much of this journey as you choose. Then invest a few minutes and write about this journey in your workbook. 1, 2, 3. Now open your eyes. Look at your workbook. Page 4, Future Self Visualization. Where were you at 9 o'clock on the day of your big event? Where did you have lunch? Who are you with? What did you discuss during lunch? What were you thinking as you got dressed in the evening? What did you wear? As you walked into the event, who were you with? Who did you notice in attendance? What were the pictures you saw? As your meal was served, who are the 7 people seated at your table? What did their expressions tell you about your accomplishments? Who introduced you to the audience? What did they say about your accomplishments? What award did you receive? What did you say to the audience about your last 10 years? Who did you thank? What changes have you made in the world? And what are you most proud of? Who gives you the gifts? Write down their names, and beneath their name write, what was in the box? What were your thoughts as you drifted off to sleep? Now, looking at this exercise, what surprises you about the exercise? Write that down. What moves you? Who are you becoming? Okay, great work. Now what I'd like to do is, if you have a question or some feedback, if you are on the phone, you can press *2 to raise your hand. If you're on the webinar, just type it in. There's a little box on your computer. Type in your question or your comments. I would love to hear from you what came up as you went through this process. There's some valuable insights in doing this exercise. So *2 if you're on the phone, or just type it in if you're on the webinar. You guys are shy about your visions. We need to state what it is that we see for ourselves. Share it with people who will keep your vision safe. Okay, I'm opening up a couple of lines here, popped up. Your phone number ends in 2582. Go ahead. There we go, 2582. You're live.
This is Denise. Can you hear me?
Yes, just barely. You sound very far away, but so speak up and.
Is that better?
Not quite. There we are.
Okay.
There you are. Hi, Denise.
Okay, sorry about that. Hi.
Okay.
When we were going through this exercise, you mentioned 3 gifts that were given to you. What is the significance of the gifts?
Honoring you on your big night.
Okay.
What came up for you when we got to that part?
A silver teapot and a golf club and a crystal bowl.
Nice. Okay. All right. So a great exercise for you is to ask, what do those things mean to you? What does that represent to be given those gifts?
I guess it means that I have accomplished something and people know me for what I like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So those are things you love. You were given gifts that were meaningful to you.
Yes.
Which, if we look at the reflection of that, that's what you're doing in the world, giving gifts that are meaningful to people.
Okay. That makes sense.
So connection is really important to you.
Yes, it is. How did you guess, right?
Right, because you appreciated that the people who gave you the gifts really knew what you liked, which meant they really knew you, which tells me that deep connection is really important, and that that's part of the bigger work that you're doing.
Right.
So what did you learn from this? You're welcome.
I learned that some things, when you asked a question, I could not visualize. I could not even have the concept of, and other things were very clear.
Yeah. That's common, by the way, for everyone. Yeah, and that's what surprised you. We put these questions out that sometimes we haven't even thought of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go back and listen to it and write as you're doing it. And begin, especially the questions where nothing comes. Mm-hmm. That's the greatest opportunity for you to explore. The ones where the answers are there, that's your greatest opportunity for you to leverage because you know it.
Okay.
So whether you had the answer or not, there's great opportunity. Keep asking the questions and put your work in place to the answers that you already have. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, next we have Teresa. Your line is open.
Okay. I was just going to share, same thing a lot I didn't really get very far with, but it was amazing to me that there is this big sense when it came to kind of the big overall.
Uh-huh.
Like for instance, the part where, what is the award for? Like I knew specifically, that the big picture. But the details, some of the details, I just kind of have a sense. And also the pictures on the wall, I really liked that. Like I had a sense I could definitely see what was in the pictures.
Oh, great.
So I liked, I just really liked how I haven't really been thinking about it lately. I've been caught in the hamster wheel. And I really liked that the exercise was like, oh yeah, I do know where I'm going.
Yes, we
to
forget
some
to
degree,
look up
I have.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Good, yeah, that there is a much bigger mission that we're up to either by default or by design. So this is you designing really the outcome that's most important to you. And what do you most want to be known for, and what kind of effect do you want to make on the world and the people in it? And then it seems to make sense as we bring it back into our daily actions. And other things make sense that we can let go of. Like, what was I thinking? Why am I doing this? This is not the direction I want to take. So the clarity is the important thing. So good. I'm glad that provided, a sense of remembering the bigger picture for you.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. It looks like, are those of you on the webcast, can somebody just type something in for me so that I can make sure it's working right? Because I don't have any feedback from you, and I don't want you guys to be out there alienated. We want to hear about your visions and what you discovered. So just type, somebody on the webcast, just type in hi. So I'll at least know that you're there and that it's working. Otherwise, if you do have a burning question on the webcast and you are typing, I am not seeing it, so maybe you could grab the phone and join us on the other side and share with us what happened for you, what you learned, what surprised you, what kind of insights you have moving forward. Okay, and while we're testing that out and seeing if it's what's going on. Oh, I've got a couple of people. It is working, Angel, and I have an I'm here from Jen. So hi, guys. If you have any feedback, please do type it in. I'd love to hear what that process was like for you. And while we're doing that, I want to back up because we started off with the Thomas Leonard Top 10. And the reason I wanted to share that was to kind of get you in the mindset of thinking about the future and the way that things are changing in our world, and the fact that you are all in business, and the changes and the trends and the visions that you're holding are constantly morphing and being created and merging with new technologies and new ways of communicating, and so many things are changing, and we want to make sure as we're designing our businesses that we're really keeping our eye not only on the vision that we just did for you, but also what's happening in the world. And as I said during that part, and what am I taking a stand for? So you've got your future self visualization. You bring that back into the day, and I hope that all of you are really clear about, this is the impact I want to make. This is what I'm doing, and this is why. And then the second part, the current trends and the things that are changing in our business world and our economy and our culture. This is how I'm going to use who I am to influence the world or to influence my family, my friends, my business, given these current trends. So there are two separate exercises designed to sort of get your personal vision into the world of business. Does anybody have questions about that? Anything about the first part of the lesson that you would like clarity on, or anything that came up? If again, if you do, you can type it in if you're on the webcast, or press *2 if you're on the phone, and I will open up your line and call on you. Let me just refresh over here. That's a really interesting comment, Jenny. I'm just going to share it with the group because it's such a great learning opportunity. She said she got distracted during the visualization. She's going to have to listen to it again. How many of us get distracted when we're really wanting to invest time in our future? So common. I'm not picking on you, Jenny. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's a perfect illustration of what happens in life, that hamster wheel. We get distracted. There's something else going on, and we don't really allow ourselves to be fully present in the moment and be crystal clear about where we're headed so that the hamster wheel can slow down and the distractions can decrease. I highly encourage every one of you to create space and time on your calendars to do this kind of work at least quarterly. At least quarterly, a big 2 to 3 day time frame yearly. To take this vision that you have, that we've done today, you can do this exercise, you can write about this, you can bring it to your annual planning, you can redo it. But every year, invest time planning out what part of that vision you are going to commit to this next 12 months. And every quarter, invest at least a day. I clear a day on my calendar and look at, okay, given my 12-month vision for myself, what needs to happen this quarter? And then from there, what systems and structures do I need to have in place in order to make it happen? All of a sudden, life becomes so juicy and meaningful when you're living on purpose like this. When you look at that task list and know that it's reaching a goal on your, for today, to get it done today, and check it off, but it's also accomplishing something bigger for your quarterly goal that's tied into your yearly goal, that's tied into your vision for the world. When it's time to do that thing, do you think you're inspired? We talked earlier about living your life through inspiration rather than empowerment. When you're inspired, which the root word is inspiritude of the Father, in alignment with source energy, what's your day like? People ask me all the time, why are you always so happy? You know what? I really am living the dream. People make fun of that comment. It's like, you know what? I'm happy because I do things that make me happy all day long. Even the mundane things, because they're tied into so tightly into this vision that I have for the world. So thank you for sharing that. Let me see. I appreciate you, Jenny. She's responding to me sharing. It's so great. That's what this community is for. It's a place for us to learn and grow together and learn from each other.
Would you like to turn your message into a signature system and monetize it with a program or product online? Join me for the Online Biz webinar, where we'll take you through the steps required to monetize your message. Head on over to theonlinebizwebinar.com and reserve your spot today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. If you did, please go to pattykeating.com and let me know what you're up to this year in your business. While you're there, be sure to grab your copy of 5 Quick Ways to Share Your Expertise.